Hey, how are y'all doing? We're going to discuss the Alex Murdaugh case. Well, him and his family. Primarily his son, Paul, and Alex. And as always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And even comment. Because right now they're here. Right now, the case is in the closing arguments. And I, for one, think he is guilty. So, let's get into this. The Murdoch family is very popular in the low country of South Carolina. From 1920 to 2006, the three members of the Murdoch family have served as solicitor in the 14th Circuit District. The 14th Circuit District encompasses Allendale, Colton, Hampton, Beaufort, and Jasper counties in South Carolina. His first generation was Randolph Murdoch Sr. He served as solicitor second generation, which is Randolph's son, Randolph Buster Murdoch Jr., served as solicitor from 1940 to 1986 until he died. He died in 1998. Third generation was his son, Randolph Murdoch III. He took office in 1986, and he ran his office until 2006. And he died in 2021. This Randolph Murdoch III, his son is Alex Murdoch. Richard Alex Murdoch graduated from USC in 1994. He joined the family law firm and volunteered part-time as the 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office. Alex was married to Maggie, and they had two sons. Richard Alexander Jr., also known as Buster, and Paul Murdoch. They established a law firm. Well, the Murdoch family established a law firm called PMPED, and they specialize in personal injury law. The firm saw its success in the early 2000s. And it says, Alex Murdoch and his associates are involved in a web of complex criminal charges and investigations, with activities dating all the way back to 2014. So this has been going on a while. And eventually, if you look back at the Murdoch family, you'll see there are some deaths associated with the Murdoch family. Not saying that they have something to do with it, but if you look at everything on the Murdoch family, these cases come up. First case is case of Stephen Smith. In 2015, he was found dead from blunt force trauma on a roadway in Hampton, South Carolina. The case was ruled a hit and run with no suspects. Smith was openly gay and a schoolmate of Alex Murdoch's sister. Witnesses interviewed as part of the investigation repeatedly implicated that Buster was having a relationship with Stephen, but the case ultimately went cold. Rumors were circulating that a cover-up and a possible involvement of one or more members of the Murdoch family were circulating all over town. In June 2021, South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, also known as SLED, reopened Stephen Smith's case. After they found evidence while investigating the death of Alex Murdaugh's wife and son, which also occurred in June of 2021. The second death that comes up in the Murdaugh family is the death of Gloria Satterfield, which was their housekeeper. On February 2nd, 2018, the Murdaugh's longtime housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, suffered a severe head injury when she fell down the stairs at the Moselle estate, which is the Allenton estate where his wife and son were murdered. She died on February 25th, 2018 from complications of the fall, plus she had a stroke on top of it. She tripped over his big dogs going down the stairs. But from what I've seen, please go look at the Netflix. Netflix has a series on called The Murdaugh Family, the Southern Scandal. Go look at that. It's 3 episodes. I recommend to look at that if you want more information about this case, because there's a lot of information in there. But Gloria says she told cops that she don't know why she fell, what caused her fall. On her death certificate, it was labeled as natural causes. A coroner was not ever called when she fell. After she died, coroner was not called. And a coroner testified that her death on death certificate was that was listed as natural, was improper. So with Alex saying that the fall happened at his house because of his dogs, he wanted Gloria's sons to sue his insurance. And ultimately, they won. But the sons didn't know nothing about it because Murdoch made off with the money. Not only him, Chad Westerndorf, attorney, and Corey Fleming conspired to steal the Satterfields' $4.3 million. It was a scam worked by diverting insurance payout to Alex's account and not notifying the Satterfield sons. Forgery, and Murdoch's law firm, PMPED, and the Palmetto State Bank. The Satterfield sons ultimately able to recover more, or they were ultimately able to recover more than $6.5 million during subsequent lawsuits. But they had to sue them to get it back. September 15th, 2021, authorities announced that they were opening a criminal investigation into Satterfield's 2018 death, and in June 2022, authorities received permission to exhume Satterfield's body in order to continue the investigation into her death. Suspicious, you think? Okay, third case that's associated with the Murdochs. Is in February 2019. Alex's younger son, Paul Murdoch, was known to be a drinker. Not only that, his mama and daddy, if you'll go back and look at the Netflix documentary series I'm talking about, about the Murdochs. His mama and daddy always had beer on him. They bought beer for him. And there's actually a clip in the series that the night that boat accident happened that claimed one of his friend's wives, Mallory Beach. He used his brother's ID, Buster, before they ever got on that boat. Went to a 7-Eleven. Bought beer. Got on the boat with the beer. They said they had a cooler full of beer, from what his girlfriend Morgan said. But anyway, they met at like a dock, a pier. They were going to an oyster roast, is what they intended to do. And Alex said that he just drive the boat up there. Paul said he just drive the boat up there and take all his friends with him to oyster roast. Well, they were on this party deck, and they were already intoxicated before they got. Well, he was already intoxicated before he got on the boat, back on the boat to take them the rest of the way to the oyster roast. Was charged with 3 felony counts after the death of teenage friend Mallory Beach in a boat accident. Paul's blood alcohol level content when he arrived at the hospital was a .286, over 3 times the legal limit for operating a motor vehicle. Paul wasn't given a field sobriety test when the accident occurred. No. And he was not taken to jail for booking. Nor was he ever handcuffed. He received special treatment because of who his family was and who his family had connections with. The judge denied him not even to wear a blood alcohol monitor in court. Court documents say Beach's family implicated Alex and Buster with providing alcohol to them and underage Paul. As of September 2021, SLED was investigating allegations that police may have been pressured to not charge Paul and the family of Connor Cook, one of the teens that was on board the boat during the accident, filed a lawsuit claiming Alex had encouraged the Cook family to retain a longtime friend. Alex's friend, Corey Fleming, in order to orchestrate the protection of power, and the Beach wrongful death case began unraveling about Murdoch's criminal began unraveling. The fourth one is the killings of Paul and Maggie Murdoch. On June 7th, 2021, Alex called police from his cell phone at 2:06 p.m. saying that the bodies of his 22-year-old son, Paul, and his 52-year-old wife, Maggie, never was at the family's Hunting Lodge in Allenton, South Carolina. Both of them had been shot multiple times with different weapons, as reported at the time of the killings around 9 p.m. It was later determined that he had been with his terminally ill father, Randolph III, and his mother, who has dementia. So it sounds like as Maggie and Paul were out at the dog kennels, Alex was away from the house. It was at his mother and daddy's when the shooting happened. Which he has told investigators in the last 2 days that that was a lie. Maggie did not live there. She lived at the beach. He called her to come down and talk to him, and Paul was there. They have in the documentary that she was talking to divorce lawyers. She was getting out of this marriage. In December 2022, Alex Murdoch faces a total of 106 grand jury criminal charges, including financial fraud, drugs, and murder. There are 3 charges in Hampton County grand jury. There are 4 charges from Colton County grand jury and 9 charges from the state grand jury. He is also a defendant in 3 separate lawsuits. He has been disbarred and he is currently incarcerated, and right now he is currently on trial. The closing arguments are today. The Beach wrongful death lawsuit went to trial this year in 2023. And I hope they win. Her family filed a lawsuit against the Murdochs because they provided Paul, who was underage, with alcohol all the time. He was extremely intoxicated when the wreck happened, and like I said, she fell overboard when the wreck occurred, and they didn't find her till 5 to 7 days later, and it was 5 miles from where the boat collided with the pillars under the bridge. He has 3 charges of murder for hire, suicide scheme that happened on a rural road in Hampton County. They said that he was trying to commit suicide to get the way out. He said that he was trying to commit suicide to win money for his son. The insurance money go to his son. So after the deaths of Maggie and Paul, the Hampton County grand jury issued 3 charges against Murdoch for murder for hire, suicide scheme to gain $10 million in insurance money. He was shot in the head while changing a tire on a rural road. The man that shot him was his accomplice, Curtis Edward Smith. So the Hampton County grand jury found out about it. They issued 3 counts against Murdoch, 5 counts against Curtis Edward Smith. On November 19, 2021, the state grand jury issued 5 counts against. On November 19, 2021, the state grand jury issued 5 indictments against Alex Murdoch on 27 charges of embezzlement and other crimes, including breach of trust, fraudulent intent, money laundering, computer crimes, and forgery. These were Thomas L. Moore, patrol officer, Dion J. Martin, Gloria Satterfield, which was the housekeeper, and Manuel Sanchez Cristini. Altogether, the fraud amount was about $4.8 million. On December 9th, an additional 21 criminal charges were filed connected to the alleged scheme that sought to defraud victims of more than $6 million. On January 21st, 2022, the state grand jury issued a further 23 criminal charges, which included 19 breaches of trust with fraudulent intent and 4 counts of computer crimes. The indictments allege that he stole more than $2.6 million from clients. Ooh, it was dirty. On August the 19th, 2022, the state grand jury issued a new round of indictments against Murdoch. Murdoch was indicted on 9 charges related to the theft of $295,000 from his brother and his old law firm. In total, the indictments indicate that he may have stolen $8,789,447 from more than a dozen people. The indictments allege crimes going all the way back to at least 2011, so they've discovered some more crimes of embezzlement. Murdoch would secretly negotiate a settlement with his clients, then pay them only enough so that they would be content and thankful. This is how he did it. And then he would steal the rest of the money from them. His clients were usually minorities, and they were not well off. The 12th, 2022, the South Carolina Supreme Court issued an official order disbarring Alex Murdoch from the practice of law in South Carolina. It was based on Murdoch's admitted reprehensible misconduct. It took all this to disbar him. In July of 2022, the Colton County Grand Jury issued an indictment charging Alex Murdoch with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime and the deaths of his wife Maggie and his son Paul. The indictment says Alex shot his wife with a rifle and his son with a shotgun. Sources close to the investigation said a high-velocity blood spatter on Alex's clothing, as well as cell phone footage, had placed Murdoch at the scene when his wife and son were shot dead. Alex pleaded not guilty, while state prosecutors said they would seek life without parole and not the death penalty. On December 16, 2022, Alex Murdoch was indicted by the state grand jury on evading nearly $487,000 in state income taxes. It reflects that he stole nearly $7 million meant for the law firm's bank accounts and failed to pay taxes on the ill-gotten gains. This man is beyond dirty. In September of 2021, Alex gave broad powers of attorney to his son Buster, including the power to sell and dispose of his assets, which Buster proceeded to do. Alex's assets were placed into receivership, which was created because evidence suggested that the Murdoch family was moving and hiding money from potential creditors, including multiple plaintiffs. The Murdoch family and attorneys have been trying to unwind the receivership in civil court. So, these people are trying to get their money back. It's filing lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. And they've got it tied up where they can't get nothing. On October 14th, 2021, concurrent with his release, he was addicted to opioids. oxycodone mainly. He went to rehab in Orlando, Florida. After he was released, he was taken into custody by South Carolina law enforcement, also known as SLED, on 2 felony counts of obtaining property by false pretenses related to the Satterfield case. So they did get him for false pretenses. Well, obtaining property. He stole her money. They got him for that. Or her son's money. Murdoch had been given a $7 million bail on the fraud charges, which he was unable to pay and remained in prison. But after the murder charges of his wife and son, he was denied bail. Murdoch has been held in custody at the Alvin Glen Detention Center in South Carolina from October 14th, 2021 to present, which now he is on trial. And the closing arguments are today. So, I'll see you in the next case. Until then, bye y'all. And please like, subscribe, and comment. Bye.